Hi everybody, my name is Alex Wiseman. I am the professor for this course, CIE 401, Globalization and Contextualization, and you are in for a treat because I am about to record a couple of screencasts where I go through the syllabus with you. So it's very exciting stuff. We'll do this also the first day of class, but I wanted to make sure that there was a recording of this that we could have up before class actually started so that you could get a look at what the syllabus has in it, how I'm thinking about it, and start making preparations for the course itself. So it's pretty exciting stuff. Get ready. So we are meeting on Thursdays from 4:10 to 7 in a room that has yet to be announced. As soon as it is announced, I will make I'll send an email to everyone and make an announcement on our course site page, which I'll be discussing with you in a second. We also are going to be recording our classes in the classroom, and some of our classes will be online only, and so they'll be in this more of a format as well. So you should be aware that if you are not a domestic in-class face-to-face student, in particular, that you're going to need to be able to use Google Hangout, because Google Hangout is the way that we're going to use our video capabilities. All right. The other thing to know about these screencasts is they go in 15-minute increments, so you can take a break every 15 minutes or less. All right. So literally, I'm going to go through the syllabus. I'm going to talk to you about the different things that are in there, and I'm going to highlight the things that I think are important. All right, so let's get going. Right here at the top of the syllabus, and if you haven't already done so, you should probably go to the course site page, and if you're looking at this now, you've gotten an email telling you to do that. And you should either open the PDF of our syllabus, which I have on the screen right now, or print off a copy, which I also have in front of me, so that you can follow along with your own copy and make notes if you need to about some of the comments as we go through. So assuming that you are going to pause me and do that right now, or that you've already done it, we'll charge ahead. My name is Alex Wiseman. I have my whole name written out here, Professor Dr. Alexander W. Wiseman. You are welcome to call me Alex. Happy to be called Alex. It is my name. If you're on campus, I'm in Iacocca Hall, room A306. This is my office phone number right down here. I'm going to tell you right now that I am not a big fan of the phone. I don't often check my messages. I don't often answer my phone. I'm in and out of my office quite a bit. The phone is absolutely the worst way to get in touch with me. So if you really want to get in touch with me, you should use my email address, which is aww207@lehigh.edu. You will also notice from time to time, if I email you directly, that you will be getting an email from wiseman.alex@gmail.com. That actually is my master email account. All my email goes to that. So at some point in the semester, if you're emailing with me, you're going to get an email probably from either aww207 or wiseman.alex@gmail.com. All right, so there's who we are. That's where the class, or when the class is being offered. Our first day of class, I believe, is January 16th. And like I said, I'll let you know where that's happening as soon as I know. And you know how to get in touch with me outside of class if you need to. Email always being the best option unless you're in my office. So if we scroll down, we can see that there is a course description. And let me just walk through this. I'm literally trying to define why we're talking about globalization and contextualization. So I have here, globalization refers to a variety of political, economic, cultural, and social changes that are currently transforming our world. Countries are increasingly interconnected by flows of information, trade, money, immigrants, technology, and culture. Transnational corporations and political organizations like the United Nations have grown in size and influence, as have the organized social movements that lobby or oppose them. The goal of the course is to clarify what globalization is and to consider the impact of globalizing ideas, structures, and cultures on education, and how educators and other stakeholders respond given their schools or systems' unique global context. So already you can see that we are balancing globalization and contextualization. They really are dual constructs. They're sort of yin and yang. Globalization and contextualizations are always complementing each other, and they're always conflicting with each other in the field of comparative and international education. So in this course, you will explore ways that policies are borrowed, and both educational cultures and structures are institutionalized. This course ties education to the larger economic, political, and cultural processes of globalization. It focuses on 3 levels of analysis involving international organizations, nation-states, and sub-state actors. And it examines not only how education plays out under market pressures, but also links education to broader debates on human rights, labor, development, and political ideology. I also should have thrown religion in there, because religion is something that we'll be talking about in class this semester as well. So we're going to be looking at a lot of different factors, and one of the ways I like to think about the globalization and contextualization class is that other than CIE 400, which is the introductory class to comparative and international education, CIE 401, this class, is the sort of heart of our program. It is the theoretical, the conceptual foundation for what we do in comparative and international education, both in the ivory tower in academia and also out in the world of development and practice. So it's a really important course, and I really like teaching it. Whoops, I scrolled a little too far. Let me go back up. Oh, it's because it switched pages. So I have several objectives that I want us to accomplish during class this semester. First, I would like to orient you to various theoretical perspectives on globalization and education, and the importance of context to educational policy and practice. In particular, you are encouraged to reflect on the changing contexts affecting national educational development and reform. Right? So this is saying that we're going to look a lot at theory, and that may elicit from you a big yawn, but trust me, it's important. What sets our program apart and what will set you apart in the field of comparative and international education, and then in development or education or teaching or whatever you do after this, what sets you apart is that you will have an understanding of various theoretical perspectives. And you will have your own theoretical framework that you can use to help you understand, or to help you disagree, or to help you frame questions and answers about phenomena, about things that happen, that you wouldn't otherwise be able to do. There are plenty of people who are just out there sort of putting out fires. They're just solving every problem that comes up without any larger picture or any larger understanding for why that happens, how that happens, and what the bigger sort of system is that's behind all of this. This is what this class does. It gives you that insight. It takes you sort of behind the curtain so that you can see a little bit about why various things happen, why education works the way it does, how globalization is a part of that, and why contextualization is so fundamental and important to our field. Next, I'm going to try to introduce you to key organizations and actors that are involved in education internationally through a review of their policies and practices as they come up in our readings. So we're not going to focus specifically on UNESCO, UNICEF, World Bank, OECD. That's for a class called Issues and Institutions in International Educational Development, which I just taught last semester. In this class, we're going to be looking at those things, but we're going to be looking at them as they come up within the context of our readings and our discussions. And as you'll see as we go along, we're going to have a particular focus this semester on non-governmental organizations, or NGOs. All right. To look at the influence and impact of international actors on national and international educational policies and practices. So why do international organizations, bilateral organizations, multilateral organizations, all these kinds of organizations, have an impact on education policy and practice at the national level, at the local level, at the school level, at the individual level? And then the other way, why are they given the legitimacy to make policy and influence practice the way they are when they're so macro. Next, I'm going to try to familiarize you with various research approaches to studying the globally contextualized politics of education, both within and across nations. So there are many different ways to look at what's going on. We're going to consider several of those approaches. Again, a lot of it's going to be based on our own readings, and we're going to use the readings as a way to investigate that. But I want you to understand how globally contextualized politics, policies, actions, etc. occur. And finally, I would like to stimulate productive debate and respectful discussion about current changes in the format and focus of education around the world. And I'd like to explore the potential future of global governance of educational practice. In other words, I want you to become engaged. I want you to be an active participant in our discussion. I want you to not just agree with everything that everyone says. Not that it's not okay to agree, of course it is, but I want you to critically think about every bit of information that's coming at you so that you can make your own decisions and you can create your own framework. Remember that theoretical and conceptual framework we were talking about, where you can start to filter some of the information that's coming through and decide based on the evidence that you have in front of you or that you know whether or not this is accurate, whether or not what we're reading is accurate, or what I'm saying is accurate, or what other people are contributing to the class, and whether or not that seems to be aligning with the things and the experiences and the readings and the ideas that you've encountered along your way to this moment. All right, so we have some pretty ambitious objectives for us, but that's okay. Our mode of instruction. Well, there are going to be short introductory lectures. And I say they'll be given each week. I will talk probably more than you expect. So that's what I mean by this. But the primary format for the course is a participatory seminar. And what I'm really looking for is for you to be as much a part of the teaching and learning as I am. We're going to operate on a rotating schedule with classes being both face-to-face and online. And I'll explain more about that our first day in class because our second week in class will be an online week. Part of that has to do with my own travel schedule. I'm doing some work with the Ministry of Education in Saudi Arabia, and so I will need to organize our course in a way that we can facilitate our discussion as much as possible, even though I will be halfway around the world for part of the semester off and on. Now the cool thing about that is that this kind of a format simulates the real world of international educational development and comparative and international education related research and policy making. I work all the time with people who are halfway around the world, who are asynchronous, who are not physically next to me or in the same room. That is a characteristic of the kind of work that we do. When you are in comparative and international education, you should expect that you are not always going to be working face-to-face, or that there are going to be times when you're going to be off and on, face-to-face one week, maybe asynchronous or online with each other the next week, and back and forth. The goal is for you to get enough of experience using this kind of format in our class situation that you will be completely comfortable using that kind of format in a professional situation. I'm going to pause here in the modes of instruction section, and you should come back for the second screencast in our series of screencasts looking at the always exciting syllabus.